Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities in Miniature. Today we've got another Warmachine boxed set in front of us. Today we're going to look at the new Cygnar Gravediggers Command Starter Set. So in case you are not aware, the Gravediggers obviously being a sub-faction of the larger Cygnar forces. What the Command Starter is kind of like an expanded starter box, whereas they have the simpler sets where it's usually just a Warcaster and two Jacks, or, you know, monsters, depending on, possibly with Old Umbre, which we are hopefully going to see in the near future, but in the meantime, at least, part of the reason I have been wanting to get around to opening this and taking a look at the contents is because I have held off on painting all of my Cygnar stuff, from the new plastic starter to various resins to the 3D printed offerings, as I know we've got this guy available in an alternate sculpt through Steamforge's Warmachine tribe. I always mix up the tribes and the frontiers. But, yeah, there's been a couple of new options. I know that they have the extreme version of this specific warjack, whose name is escaping me, and I'm going to totally cheat and look at the plugger. That's it. Anyway, they have a new version of that available as part of the loyalty for the new tribe. And seeing as I've already printed it, I figured it's probably a good time to take a look at the actual command starter set here. And then maybe on another day we will review what's available for the printed offerings. I am also getting incredibly distracted by a barky dog who I'm going to go chastise in a moment to be quiet, because if there's shadows, she's barking. She's just that obnoxious. Anyway, let's take a look at which of the mystery boxes shall we open first. This doesn't feel like it has anything in it. Maybe I'll have a pleasant surprise. Nope, it's nothing! Exciting. Okay, this one has stuff in it. This one does not, just in case. Plugger. That's what our character Warjack is called. And I'm assuming that large bag is him. I don't know why I refer to Warjacks as a he. So we've got Buck Hasker as our Captain Warcaster, the Plugger, a 3-model Rowdies set, and then airdrops and mines as well. Okay. Let's see what's what. That is a... My brain just went... Trollkin of some sort. Gatling gunner. I will say that this is one of the models that I was more than happy to pick up the box for. I was going to say Ogren. That's not right. Sculpt looks nice. Not too much in the way it's like really bright outside right now. But not a whole lot that's in need of cleanup. There's a little bit here and there. But thankfully the figure's in one piece, so that's good. Let me see if this makes any difference. Playing with the blinds here. Maybe he's part of that 3-man unit? I gotta double check. I have not looked at the rules of these guys. I've been focused on Kador. That's something. That's not good. Captain Hasker's knife hand has been dislodged, but considering it's got that little extra gauntlet part there, the back of the gauntlet should make it easy to attach, or I could be completely wrong and it was never attached in the first place, but that's an easy fix. I'm not too worried about that. I don't like when the chains get broken, but you can see at least that his chain is attached to the cloak right here, or his jacket, so at least there's a couple contact points. Same with the various accoutrements. I'm having a hard time keeping things in focus today. One thing I like about, well, Warmachine in general, but specifically guys in heavier armor, is the bulk to them. Warmachine, especially in its current iteration in Mark IV from Steamforged, has a nice size to it. Good chunky models, which are number one. Number two, have a little bit more oomph and presence on the table. And considering that, you know, Warmachine has always been a bit of a smaller scale game, obviously it can scale up, you know, that does work to its advantage. Also included with Captain Hasker are his landmines. You get 3 of them. They all seem to be the same sculpt, but I don't know why they wouldn't be, right? Make things easier. It's not like I need individual. I guess if you wanted to paint them separately to make them look different, that would work. Okay, this bag seems to be airdrops. We do have at least bases included. You can see it looks like the ammo crate. Nope, that's ammo. These are not only cool for just the fact that they get the airdrops, but nice little objective markers for whatever type of Warmachine games, especially if you are playing Cygnar. Just a very generic supply crate, I guess. The box says ammo crate, medical crate. Okay. And you know what? The trollkin that I was looking at is Sergeant Bruno Ramjaw. You do have a name. Sergeant Ramjaw. Hey, you are not one of the rowdies then. Who I'm assuming are in this package. As I drop them. Alright, the first of the rowdies. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with his head there. Does he have like some kind of a scope or something? Is that excess flash on his head? I'm not 100% sure. Again, nice thick armor. It almost seems like something broke. I don't know. There's no like little bits and pieces, because at least with these 3D printed figures, you know, you can tell if something cracked. Maybe it did, and I just need to dig around in the package a little bit more. I do like the fact that the Gravediggers actually look like they are going into conflict. Sometimes models like these, you know, tend to have not a lot of battlefield gear, which to me, especially if they're supposed to be professional soldiers, you'd think they'd be kitted out. So it is nice to see they're heading into battle properly equipped. All of them on 30mm bases. Assuming that's a grenade launcher. Or just really big shells. I mean, I don't know, it could be an AoE attack. I'd have to look at the rules. Like I said, I've been focused on Khador stuff and trying to figure out what I'm doing with all my Chimera in terms of paint jobs. They've been languishing a bit at the moment. I do like the cigar touch though. So those are the rowdies. And then finally our plugger. Now, being that this is a character warjack, he does not have the typical magnetizable parts that we've seen on a lot of the other warjacks. I gotta double check, but I feel like there was something about some special optional parts available for him. I could be wrong on that. The twin Gatling guns being one of his key charms. And then the dual blades as well. Looks like this blade got cracked a bit. I'm assuming that that's not the way it's supposed to look, so I better hold on to the bag. That's okay. As I already said, I kind of sort of have the extreme version already printed out, so I'm not too sussed about that. Part fit is nice. Can't forget the head. If I can even attach it myself. Which it doesn't look like I'm able to at the moment, on camera at least. And being that he is a typical warjack, he's going to sit on that 50mm base. What I did with the 40mm base for our Bruno Ramjaw. I think it's a fun little set. And again, the nice thing about Warmachine is at this scale, especially if you're just going to do like box versus box type battle, which I always loved doing the old battle boxes. Sometimes I will admit that I've picked up especially when they were on clearance back in the day, especially like Mark II ones and Mark III ones. I would grab extra ones and paint them up just for the attempt to math my way through the game. All the various hypothetical battles that we can have with them. So there you have the contents, minus supply crates and the parts for our warjack. I gotta double check though, like I said, I feel like there were some optional parts available for the 3D printing route if you wanted to do that. But considering like this set was just, I think, $10 more than the basic starter, to me this was a little bit better deal. Obviously, again, with Warmachine, everything is really going to be dependent upon your warcaster. That's really going to determine the playstyle. So yeah, you may have, you know, if you end up with 2 of those or one of the auxiliary starters, cadres, or whatever the box sets, you may end up with a whole lot of models to play around with, but how they're going to be utilized best is really going to depend on, obviously, your warcaster. So are you going for a crafty or deceitful one with lots of spells and mucking around, or are you going to go like the Chimera route where you got, like, I've been working on the big quadruped guy who basically just barrels down the table and takes a bunch of hits and dishes them out in return. He's going to play a lot more differently than like the ninja type dude for the Chimera. Again, that's what I have in front of me. So it's all up to you. And since obviously the app itself is free, if you want to just download it and take a look at the rules, it at least can get you all up to date on what most of the caster's abilities are, and then you can kind of build from there, which is always kind of nice. And it is also nice to see that a lot of this stuff, in terms of like units and character warjacks, while they are being first sold in these larger sets like this in the boxes, I have seen that they've been splitting them up if you're like looking for kind of mixing and matching very specific units, you know, and you want to kind of a la carte everything. That is an option too. So I will have that link down below. You guys can take a look at things yourselves, see if this new Cygnar Gravediggers set is something that would work well on your tabletop, and hopefully you'll be having fun with those as well. So with that said then, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here soon. Bye-bye.